Hey folks, welcome to another artwork video. So I've done Quentin Hoover, who is known for extremely detailed line work, and this card, which I actually just found, Tragic Poet, lots of wrinkles in the fabric, lots of details in the hair. And then we looked at Douglas Schuler, who is known for more of, not quite impressionistic, but a more suggestive style, softer edges, more shading and contours, and lots of breasts. And now I'm going to move on to Drew Tucker, who probably has, I would hazard to guess, the most distinctive style of anybody from the mid-90s. When I say mid-90s, I mean 93, 94. He painted exclusively in watercolor, and there was often very little shape or detail at all to his paintings. Again, I wouldn't call this impressionistic necessarily, but it's very, very vague and leaves a lot to the imagination. And I think that style works for certain cards. For example, cave people. Cave people are mysterious, they are scary, they are spooky, and to make them entirely out of shadows like this, with very little indication as to what they actually look like, I think really works for a card called Cave People. Similarly, Murk Dwellers. Apart from the odd kind of breast-shaped there, I mean, there's very little here to go on in terms of what they actually look like. Although, oddly enough, this face in the background is more detailed than the faces in the foreground, which is actually kind of spooky. And there's no background at all, because they live in the murk. Angry Mob. This is Aufgebrachte Pöbel, the German version. I actually like this card, which is why I pulled it in my German 4th edition to show you. I think an angry mob is a perfect subject for Drew Tucker because, the mob is completely undifferentiated. It's a bunch of black specks and yellow flames. That one guy kind of randomly out in the front. And he does choose to do a little bit of detail work in the houses, the roofs of the houses, really to kind of accentuate the undifferentiated character of the mob itself, which I think is really cool. This is Power League. I think this is also a good illustration of his illustration style. The idea of Power League is that you were losing power, and this guy he's misshapen, he's kind of crumbling as his power is being drained away, which I think is very cool. And then he went a little extreme in some of his drawings. This is Ashes to Ashes, and as you can see, it's basically just kind of a flat, marshy landscape with some suggestions of plant life growing out of it. So this I don't like as much. Herjackal, again. It's interesting to compare something like Angry Mob, where he did a very detailed setting in Cave People, where he actually did a less detailed but a very compelling setting. Something like Herjackal, where he has this incongruous set of triangles and hexagons in the back that have nothing to do with the actual subject of the art. And where I think his style falls apart is with something like Clockwork Beast. Now you see the word clockwork, and what do you want to see? You want to see gears, machinery, detail, and he basically put together a series of random polygons here. I think it works in terms of conveying that the beast is cobbled together and not very stable. The idea of the Clockwork Beast is that he gets weaker every time he is engaged in combat, and you have to keep on kind of putting power into him to rebuild him. So in that sense, the idea of him as sort of this hulking, misshapen, cobbled together monster works, but all the same, this is not one of my favorite drawings of Drew Tucker. My friends and I actually really didn't like him when we were kids, because we liked the comic books, and we liked the more Quentin Hoover, Douglas Schuler style of actually, things that you would see in a comic book page. But now I appreciate Drew Tucker's style, particularly things like Angry Mob is one of my favorite illustrations. I just think it's really cool, very spooky, very chaotic, and the idea of the Angry Mob just this unstoppable force coming towards you, and the fact that they're emerging from the vanishing point, and kind of moving towards some unseen target in the foreground, I think is really cool. It really captures the the idea of the card in a big way. So those are my lame thoughts on Drew Tucker, and I will be back with another artwork video soon. Thank you for watching.